Hello everyone, Nick the DM here, and welcome to the first video in March of the Modrons. Today we're looking at what the Modrons actually are. Modrons are a race of lawful neutral constructs who follow every command they are given by a superior until they either fulfill their task or die trying. In total, there are over 360 million Modrons, divided into 15 rankings or castes. Each of these castes are further categorized into the base Modrons and the hierarch Modrons, with a technical third grouping being Primus, the one in the prime. Listed from lowest rank to highest rank, it goes Monodrones, Duodrones, Tridrones, Quadrones, and Pentadrones, which are the base Modrons, and Decatons, Nonatons, Octons, Septons, Hextons, Quintons, Quartons, Tertians, and the Secundi before the absolute ruler of the Modrons, Primus. Each of these Modrons have their assigned roles and specific forms and abilities that will get their own spotlight in later videos. A famous saying among those who know the Modrons is, quote, "To look at one Modron is to look at all of them," end quote. This saying comes from the fact that there is no individuality in either form or thought within the caste of Modrons. All Monodrones act and look the same, as do all Tertians, and as do all Secundi. No Tertian will be different from another Tertian, and no Monodrone will be different from another Monodrone. Modrons will always refer to itself as we, never I, and the creatures do not have names, making distinguishing individual Modrons nearly impossible. Smart adventurers or travelers who interact with a Modron may use a marker or paint to mark a specific Modron that they wish to seek out later, and unless instructed to remove the marking, a Modron will not concern itself with the mark. The caste system the Modrons exist by also determines how they communicate and interact. Modrons only interact with other Modrons within its same caste or one caste above or below it, as each rank believes that those immediately above it are the highest form of life and the fountainhead of supreme logic. If a Modron sees another Modron 2 or more ranks above it, it will see it as an incomprehensible creature. Of course, a Pentadrone may be assigned to guard a Hexton, but it understands only that it is to guard a creature matching the description of the Hexton. It has no concept of that hierarch's place in the overall social structure. Likewise, a Duodrone assigned to maintain the residence of a Secundus does not understand who built that structure or why. There is an awareness of all ranks below a Modron station, yet communication is exclusively limited to adjacent ranks. It would seem that the Monodrone is almost as alien to the Tridrone as the Tridrone is to the Monodrone. This is not the result of elitism, rather the strict order observed by the race completely negates the slightest necessity for communication beyond immediate inferiors and superiors. The life cycle of a Modron is a strange one. They do not age, they do not need to eat, drink, or sleep, and the only change they will ever experience in life is when a gap appears in the higher ranks. If this occurs, a Modron of exactly one rank lower will be chosen to be promoted. This process is traumatic. Not only does the Modron undergo a retching change into its new form, it also gains awareness of a once incomprehensible life form in the caste above its new rank. The way Modrons are chosen for promotion is not like any other race. Other creatures can be chosen based on accomplishments or accolades like demons and devils. Modrons, on the other hand, aren't so picky. Because each Modron of a single caste is virtually the same, the Modron chosen for promotion is merely a choice of convenience. If a Nonaton perishes, the nearest Decaton will immediately be chosen for the new rank. Holes in the lower ranks created by this process are filled in the same way, promoting one lower-ranking Modron to the new position. Because Monodrones have no inferior, they reproduce by fission, creating a new body by having the nearest Monodrone split into two. The new empty shell is then filled by life essence from the energy pool within Mechanus, which all Modron life comes from, and returns to in destruction. It is theorized that the only way to eliminate the Modrons is to destroy their connection to the pool. While Modrons are incredibly lawful, they are also incredibly mysterious, never revealing their true intentions to anyone but clearly possessing a vast array of knowledge. One tale reveals that Anem the Allfather, the head god of the giant pantheon, and father of all giants, won the secrets to rune magic for his children from a high-ranking Modron in a game of lots. How they entered this game and what order or instruction drove the Modrons to compete in such a wager is unknown. Perhaps Anem wagered something so intriguing that Primus decided to be worth the time of a high-ranking Modron. One last thing I will touch on before I end the video is the creation myth of the Modrons. I can't think of a better way to present this information, so I will be reading a passage directly from Dragon Magazine issue 414. Mind you, this is 4th edition, and we know that 4th edition is famous for going deep into lore, but also famous from changing lore from earlier editions. But I happen to like a lot of stuff from 4th edition. So without further ado, let's get into the creation myth of the Modrons. Many cultures of the mortal world have myths recounting the origins of the universe. Though the details of these legends are colored by cultural bias, most share key events, such as the war between gods and primordials. Yet few can recount the story of an even earlier time in history of the multiverse, the epoch that witnessed the molding of the elemental chaos itself. Accounts chronicled by the Fraternity of Order in Sigil speak of a time in which the elemental chaos was still in its infancy, an age of creation when primordials shaped and destroyed worlds at whim, unchallenged by the gods. It was an era of wondrous invention on a cosmic scale, but without a framework to give them permanency, these creations were fleeting. One primordial stood apart from the others. This being's true name is lost to the ages, but fraternity archives name it as the Prime Architect. It is written that this primordial was the first to peer beyond the veil of the elemental chaos to behold something outside. A region of perfect order and harmony the Prime Architect called the Accordant Expanse. Enraptured by this vision of perfection, the Prime Architect began to shape the elemental chaos on a massive scale. The first phase of this grand design required distilling the chaotic maelstrom into 4 basic elements: air, earth, fire, and water. To achieve this end, the architect enlisted 4 mighty elemental lords as overseers. As the framework took shape, the elemental lords in turn tasked their subordinates, the archimentals, with crafting the latticework of the final structure, incorporating mixtures of the base elements. At last, the Prime Architect beheld its momentous creation, raw elemental power molded by symmetry and order. By drawing on this cosmic arrangement of elements, the grand creations of the primordials could persist, allowing mortal life to flourish at last. Even as the Prime Architect proudly surveyed its handiwork, subtle blemishes began to mar the nascent realms. At first barely perceptible, the minute imperfections began to multiply rapidly, forming flesh-like strands of corruption with writhing in bluish slime. The Prime Architect watched in mute horror as a nearby world was dragged into the mass of tendrils and devoured by a colossal worm-like entity lurking within. Finally shaken from its immobility, the primordial moved quickly to intercept the aberrant behemoth before it could chew its way farther out of its dreadful realm. Fraternity documents are sketchy on the details of this colossal battle with the entity now called the Nine-Tongued Worm, but in the end the Prime Architect proved victorious, just barely. It was mortally wounded, no longer able to stabilize the elemental chaos. It called one last time to the Accordant Expanse. Bathing in the cosmic energy of absolute order, the Prime Architect surrendered its flesh and was recreated as innumerable mechanical life forms, each a distinct entity but inseparable from the whole. Thus the Modron race was born. The horde of newly created Modrons mobilized into a hierarchy, then quickly spread across the cosmos to seal the remaining breaches of the far realm. Once this task was complete, they shifted themselves to the Accordant Expanse en masse, where they immediately set to work engineering a home for their kind, a bizarre realm of gears and cogs they named Mechanus. Year by year, decade by decade, and century by century, the Modrons toiled, constructing their capital city at the heart of Mechanus, 64 interlinking cogs rested atop each other like a colossal mechanical ziggurat to form the clockwork metropolis of Regulus. At the heart of their clockwork home, the Modrons erected a grand cathedral in honor of the prime architect. Then the 4 highest ranking among them submerged themselves into a scintillating pool of pure order and conjoined, triggering an unexpected apotheosis. From the pool arose the vestige of the prime architect, given new flesh and purpose, Primus, the one in the prime. And that is all I have for today's video, kicking off March of the Modrons. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to stay updated on more videos like this. And maybe take a look at some of the other videos I've made. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!